everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Thank you so much for joining us. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Make sure you also go check out our website, hollywoodmatrimony.com, and find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Hive.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Mi amo Drusilla.
No, Ti amo Bobby.
Oh, mi Roberto.
There you go, Roberto. Anyways, welcome to this week's episode. We have some fun things to talk about. We are all over the place in this show with a wide variety of movies. I love it. I love when this happens.
Paper? Okay, good.
I have my paper. I'm ready to discuss.
I'm assuming that'll be the last thing we talk about.
Yes, because there's a lot to talk about. We only have 4 movies, but that doesn't mean anything because we can talk a lot.
Because we are annoying people.
We are. So thank you for joining us.
All right.
All right, let's get started, babe. Well. Tell me about this.
Gangnam Zombie.
Well, I have a question about that.
Okay. What is it?
Do they do that? But let's first tell me about the movie.
Oh, okay.
Because I have a question.
It has nothing to do with that.
Dang. I had a slide ready.
Huh?
I have a slide ready.
Oh, okay. Well, it has nothing to do with...
I was going to ask, do they do this in the movie?
They don't. I was very upset that nobody did it.
Okay. We'll go back.
Gangnam is a district.
Okay.
Is a place. So they're the Gangnam style is being, I'm assuming, being the fancy whatever. And so he's marching like, if they did, I missed it. And the only way it would have been work for me is if it was a zombie chasing them like that or something. But if it was there, I didn't see it.
Okay.
So
tell me about the movie.
So the movie is basically, even though it's called Zombie,
yeah,
it felt more like a 28 Days Later kind of thing. So they're not like Rise from the Dead zombies, they're infected.
I gotcha.
And this does take place during the COVID. Like it starts off talking about
you
COVID.
You think it's COVID and suddenly it's zombies?
Well, kind of. It's during the COVID and then they're talking about vaccines and they're on lockdown and then it kind of shifts. They're basically normal people suddenly start becoming crazed and attacking people in Korea, and it's a wealthy Gangnam district. And I guess the zombies had Gangnam style. This actually told me what Gangnam was. I just didn't know what Gangnam style was. I just thought it was Psy doing this stupid dance with MC Hammer. But it basically, people start getting infected and then it starts spreading and then as people run around. But the main character is actually an ex-national Taekwondo athlete.
Okay.
Who had gotten injured, I believe, and he's no longer there. He still fights and whatever. But it's funny. There's the synopsis. It says, long after injuries forced him to quit the national Taekwondo team, an elite former athlete is given one more opportunity to use his talent on behalf of his country as he takes on one final match. This time against terrifying hordes of the undead.
Does he actually kick people?
He does. There is some martial arts stuff in there. He's jump kicking people. He's spin kicking people. Most of the little crazy zombie stuff. It's an okay flick. It wasn't as exciting and intense. I think I was expecting something like a Train to Busan. Which is like intense, bloody, gory. This one does have the blood and gore and stuff, but it almost felt a little silly at times. Not stupid. Yeah. But not as, and it wasn't trying to be funny. It's just, it's hard to explain. It was just kind of, okay, there they are. Okay, they're going to fight. And they're running. It takes a long time to get to something, especially for a movie that's not very long. I think it's only an hour and a half or something. It felt like it took me a while to get to something happening. And then the fights were kind of slow, even though the zombies are creatures, whatever, crazed people were running and all this stuff. Like
so they were World War Z fast, or
they felt more like something you see out of the Crazies or 28 Days Later.
But they weren't Barbara.
They weren't.
They weren't Barbara.
No, they were running at you and stuff and biting people. And
they
jumping.
weren't Barbara Slow.
Yeah, they weren't Barbara Slow.
They're coming to get you.
Yes, that was a Night of the Living Dead reference, not somebody named Barbara that's slow.
Your mom. Who is Barbara and she's slow. I'm so sorry.
That is on the nose. It's okay. Make fun of my mom when she's in a medical rehab facility.
I know,
it's okay.
Poor thing.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Jesus will get you. But anyway, no. So it's a fine movie. It wasn't as intense as I thought. And knowing there was going to be a martial arts level, I was hoping to be a little more. But it was fine. The fighting was fine. It wasn't bad. The guy had a good kick.
Did the story make any sense, or was it?
Yeah, it's generic. It's one of those where they try to infuse more stories sometimes than necessary.
Yeah, it's
just look, these crazy things are killing everybody. Survive. Yeah. Hey, you're a Taekwondo guy. Okay, he can be able to kick him and do some stuff. And it was like the Taekwondo element of the character is really just to justify so we can make him karate-fize the zombies.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that. I was all for it. It just took forever for it to get there. And then when it starts getting there, it kind of goes. But nobody, to me, nobody felt, nothing ever felt really urgent or intense. It felt like there's some more. We got to fight him again. Not a bad movie. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't the level I thought it was going to be.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yeah. So
thank you for your opinion.
Gangnam Zombie is available now on the Blu-ray and DVD. And if you go to our website at
HollywoodMatrimony.com,
you can win a copy for yourself and check it out and make your own assumption.
Free movies. Okay, good. I saw a review, not even a real review, of some lady on TikTok like this movie was horrible. I'm like, did you even get it and watch it? Are you looking for action? Are you looking for a story?
I can see somebody saying that, and that's probably because it takes so long to get there, and the action is not as fast paced as I would have expected it to be. Especially because the opening of the movie is these two people running in like a mall or something, and they are outside. I don't know. He jumps up on the top of a car. She gets in the car, and these zombie guys, undead, are smashing the car. And you're like, oh, we're gonna get some intensity, and then it never happens. It never gets above.
But we at least always try to find one redeeming quality.
Well, you know, it's here's the thing is, you know, when you watch a normal zombie flick and the fights aren't super fast because the zombies usually don't move fast.
Zombies are moving slow.
So typically. That's what kind of exists. This is them smacking them and punching them and kicking them. Yet these zombie creatures, undead, can move faster. And I'm like, why is this not happening? When you watch like 28 Days Later, it's chaos.
Yeah.
They're jumping. So Train to Busan. They're you know. So I think they used the wrong level of them. They need to either speed up the process or slow them down and make everything kind of merge together. Yeah.
All right.
It was fine.
Check up Gangnam Zombie. Go dance in Gangnam style. Let's go to the next movie.
Please do. Let's go to something completely different.
Yeah, Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2.
So this was a funny flick because after further research, I don't know if this was one that was intended to be part of the tax write-off for Warner Brothers, because everybody was talking about, because it got leaked. The movie itself got leaked, and so there was a bunch of people posting that they saw this movie and it's never going to see the light of day, and it's part of this. But it was also around the same time of the Batgirl situation that they pulled that movie, right?
Yeah. So
it was understood, like to the point where I have a friend who I won't mention his name, but he works or has the ability to work into the darker side of unreleased films and getting copies of stuff that you're not supposed to have copies of. So I reached out because I wanted to see this movie. I wasn't going to sell it. I wasn't going to do anything. I just wanted to see it.
Can you get me the new Scooby-Doo movie?
Pretty much. and you know what? Because he's professional, he goes, I'm on it.
Wow.
Now, he found it before this even announced. It got him some viruses. So he had to redo a bunch of stuff. It messed up a bunch of things. But so then all of a sudden I get a press release that the movie's being released. So now I'm wondering if it was always intended to get released, but somebody leaked it early, and then the assumption was this wasn't supposed to come out. So I don't know. Either way, I was
probably
excited.
Got released because it got leaked.
That's possible too, but leaked
that other.
Well, that's how Deadpool got made.
Batman movie.
That's how Deadpool got made,
like
because they leaked that concept trailer, and it's pretty much been proven that Ryan Reynolds leaked it. But anyway, official release. This isn't official release. This isn't the bootleg. This isn't from the dark web. This is an actual DVD release by Warner Brothers, Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2. Which we've had so many different connections of Scooby-Doo and celebrities and everything else, even to the point of, is that shelf falling over or is that just a floor?
It looks like it's leaning, but I wonder if it's the floor.
That's weird. That's super leaning, isn't it?
We've had a variety of Scooby-Doo movies.
So yeah, and they've all connected to different celebrities and wrestlers and bands and whatever. But outside of like Blue Falcon, things like this, the only real comic connection that I remember that was prominent was Batman.
Mm-hmm.
And I never understood, when you have Krypto and you have Ace the Bat Hound, why Scooby-Doo hasn't done. They even had a Krypto TV series for a while. Why hasn't Scooby-Doo connected? And I know there was some other stuff later that I saw, but thankfully we're finally here.
Okay.
So what did you think?
I really enjoyed this movie. I end up liking. I'm just like, another Scooby-Doo, but then I end up liking it.
But you like Scooby-Doo.
I do like Scooby-Doo. I'm not going to say I'm a super fan, but I would go and watch all of them.
You like anything that Scooby-Doo comes out, you'll watch it.
I pretty much like all Scooby-Doo things. I think most recently my favorite one is when they were at the county fair and taken back in time.
That's every movie.
I know, they went back in
the medieval time ones?
Yeah.
That was not a good one.
I know.
I didn't
Blue
like that.
Falcon one was good. I'm back in the
The
time
Blue
of
Falcon
like,
one was that movie Scoob. That
Yeah.
wasn't. I love that movie, and it was supposed to
but
get a
I
sequel, and it
like
got canceled.
I like the show where like Sonny and Cher show up.
That was the Scooby-Doo Adventures, I think,
yeah,
or
like,
Scooby-Doo Mysteries,
I'm
or
way
something.
back there, so I just really like.
I always liked that one with Don Knotts, just because I loved. I mean, I was a huge Don
Yeah.
Knotts fan, but I liked the way they drew him. He looked like Mr. Furley Don Knotts,
Yes.
not Don Knotts.
Yeah.
You know.
No, but this was a really good movie, and I think it's interesting because Scooby-Doo can talk kind of, and Krypto doesn't, and
Which is weird because in the cartoon Krypto can talk.
Right, but in this one he didn't. So he's trying to like lead them because he's really super smart, intelligent. He's got powers, and the gang is like, oh, what a cute little dog.
Yeah.
So
I here's the thing is I always tell everybody I'm not a Scooby-Doo fan,
mm-hmm.
but I think I'm gonna have to change my statement because
too, right?
a lot of these, I'm a fan of Scooby-Doo with these team-up movies most of the time. When there's no other people there, I get tired of it because I give them the thing that makes it work is also the thing that drives me crazy. It's every Scooby-Doo thing is the same.
It's the same formula.
Not even the same, just the same mystery. That part I'm fine with, but they always have to have the running through the doors. They always have to have the unmasking. They always have to have them eating snacks. There's a formula to it, and if you don't use that, then it's no longer Scooby-Doo in the Mystery Inc. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I'm tired of that same thing all the time, and I just never was a fan.
Well, did you watch the actual episodes after the movie?
No, because I had no interest in those.
Oh, well, if you had watched the episodes, it's funny because it comes up. They do an episode with Wonder Woman, an episode with Batman, an episode with the Flash.
Awesome.
And the Flash is like, why are y'all taking so long? He just goes and grabs them and ties them up, and he's like, it's this person.
Isn't that in this movie?
No, it's at the end. There's an episode.
Because that happens in this movie.
No.
Yes,
it's
it does.
Cartoon episode.
No, there's an part in this movie where they're running back and forth when the Justice League is there, and he's running. Why are y'all taking so long? And he's running past them.
Okay, you did watch the episodes.
No, that was in the normal movie.
No.
Yes, it was. It's at the end portion of the movie.
It's an episode.
Wow.
Grab the DVD.
I will, but that was in the actual movie because that was before the credits of the film.
Okay.
I know that for a fact. You can keep telling everybody no.
Okay, well, there was a whole episode of that.
I'm not doubting that. They just probably mimicked the same exact thing.
Okay, well maybe they did, but that I think was my favorite part was the special episode. So 3 bonus episodes: Scooby-Doo with Wonder Woman, What a Night with Batman, and 1 Minute Mysteries with the Flash because he keeps telling me I'm taking too long. Anyways,
again, I'm not doubting that, but that is in the movie.
But that's the formula that you don't like.
Yes and no. It's just like I said, I don't like it because it feels like every episode is the same
repetitive.
thing.
It is.
But then I get tired because I'm like, I want to see something different, which I think is why I much prefer the Scooby-Doo with the team up stuff because you're getting different characters, different elements. I fully expect it to be, we would have gotten away with it too, and all that stuff. And then even as much as I get annoyed, if it wasn't there, I'd be annoyed because it's supposed to be there.
That's the formula.
But being a superhero fan, I was super excited for this one.
Yeah, and this one does bring in more. There's more like
a lot
because it's Justice League, so you get some otherworldly powers.
Well, it's actually leans more into the Super Friends show with the Legion of Doom.
Oh yeah, you get some bad guys.
It feels like that era. Although I was a little disappointed because at first they felt like they were going full on Legion of Doom Super Friends back in the day. But then they brought in General Zod and some other people as part of the Legion. I was like, that's cool, but I was hoping to see some of the other ridiculous.
I just like when they did the funny. Then they always Shaggy and Scooby always dress up, and it's like it confuses people. Like,
oh yeah.
And he's like, okay, everyone, follow me this way, and just leading people through the thing. And I'm like, this is so dumb, but it's funny.
I thought it was fun too because you get a chance to because they really, really play into the superhero parts of the story. So you get to see Mr. Fred and Velma and all them use some of the gadgets and some of the other things from the superheroes and kind of make them superheroes, even though they're already kind of superheroes, even though they're normal people in the genre, But
the funniest gag was Velma. She lost her glasses and was like, who are you?
Oh, yeah,
and she puts her glasses on as Velma and they take them off because in that world that works. And it doesn't work for her because she's like, they're like,
which the logistics of those glasses doesn't make sense in that case because the reality of it is supposedly the Kryptonian thing of the glasses changed what Superman's face looks like. It's not just him wearing a pair of glasses.
It's the glasses.
But in this case, they do. I was cracking up.
That was a funny gag.
It's a fun flick. I had a blast with them. I'm glad it got released. I think they work well together. And bringing Solomon Grundy in was a smart decision because that brings a monster element that we normally get from Scooby-Doo. So there's like a whole plethora of supervillains. The Justice League and them are there, but they're not there until a little bit later on. So they're not just taking center stage. So that was a fun difference because usually Batman's right alongside them, solving a mystery. So anyway.
Yep, it was cool.
I had fun. I'm going to slowly say I kind of like Scooby-Doo.
But just the movies.
Still not a huge fan, but like I only have 3 of them. The other ones I've gotten rid of. I have the Scooby-Doo Batman movie. I have the Scooby-Doo this one. I have the Scooby-Doo Encourage the Cowardly Dog.
Oh, that was fun. That was cute too. So, I like what Scooby-Doo gets with all
we
the
have
other
Scoob
dogs.
as well, but
yeah, I'm gonna just go watch all of the episodes. How about that?
Okay, good
all
luck
right.
with that.
Next.
Anyway, Scooby-Doo and Krypto 2 is available now on DVD from Warner Brothers.
All right, now we're going in a completely different direction again with the Meg 2.
It's
The
Meg
Trench.
2, the Trench,
Sorry.
not the Meg.
Whatever.
Which I kept writing that too. So.
Well, that's because part 1, here we go,
Meg.
is called The Meg.
Right.
Which in itself is the most ridiculous idea for a movie, and then it worked out okay.
Is it though? Because I mean, for someone like yourself that believes in so many ridiculous things, you don't think there could be a megalodon still swimming in the ocean somewhere?
I don't know, because that's the movie what's the movie that we just watched where they're out on the oil rig and there's another megalodon? Black Devil, Black Demon.
No, Black Demon. The Black Demon, I think it is. It's based on that supposed legend.
I mean, I supported that one because it was Mexicans with a megalodon, so I guess I can support a British guy with a megalodon. I'll watch anything with Jason Statham anyway.
Me too. I love Jason Statham, and he's I find it crazy. It's been so long, but it took so long to get him in something in the water because he's a known professional diver, and so why he hasn't done more water-related things? But
maybe after almost dying in the other one.
Yeah, but he didn't almost die in the other anything else before that either.
Who
so
knows? All right.
Anyway, so
now I'm Meg 2.
The first one did really well, so they came back with the second one. I believe the Meg stuff are based on the novel. The first one, I think. I don't know if they did another or not. So this one, it's one of the big concerns that I wrote in my review was when you make a movie like that, especially anything with a shark or a creature, and you do a follow-up, a lot of times it can end up just being the same movie again.
Yeah.
That's where you come into problems with like the Jaws franchise. The first Jaws is outstanding. Then they never really capture the magic. I want to say Jaws 2 is not too bad. When you get into 3D and 4 and they're the same movie over and over.
Yeah.
So what I will say this movie does is it says we are not making the same movie.
Correct.
We're going bigger, we're going badder, we're going crazier, we're going more insane.
It is.
And it's both makes the movie better, but also makes it fail on some points, depending on your vision of what you see.
Yeah.
So the second movie, Meg 2, not to be confused with Meg from Family Guy. This time around, this time around, we're still following Statham. He's brought back to the water. They basically have some exploratory dive into the deepest parts of the ocean, which is the trench. And of course, as we all know, anytime you deal with any of that thing, something horrible is going to happen. Things are going to come up. I like that element because then that brings that, okay, if there's a megalodon, what else could be down there?
Correct.
So that gives them a chance to explore that. Yep. So this time around, not one, but more than one. And if you see the trailer, something with tentacles, and there's some other things.
That weird tentacle thing was getting me. I was like, oh no.
Why?
Because I don't like things with tentacles. That's weird.
I thought that was a cool addition to the movie. So there's more here than just the megalodon.
Correct.
And so to me, that made it a lot fun, a lot more entertaining, a lot fun. I don't know the language any longer. So, what is your feeling on this film?
It was okay. I don't know what I was expecting. I think it went maybe a little too far for me. Like some of it's like a little too unbelievable. Like I said at the beginning, the Meg itself is unbelievable. But okay, maybe it's possible. But now understanding how the other creatures are there, because there's a variety of creatures, I understand. I just think it's a little too much for me.
I agree with you on some point.
I wish there had been more fighting or blood or killing or something.
Well, here's the thing: is this series is not about the blood and guts.
I know.
I agree with you on some level. It did cheese up the film a little bit more, where the first movie is cheesy, but it was taking itself seriously. This one, they clearly knew what they were making, and they were like, "Let's just go in this. This is a turn your brain off, have some fun type flick." My issue with this movie, outside of some of the CGI being hit and miss, but I buy into it because I know the story we're telling, so I wasn't as annoyed by it. I know you were on this big underwater battle thing you didn't like. I actually thought that was kind of fun to watch.
It just looked bad, like visually
I didn't think it looked bad.
Like this looks fake. The backdrop looks fake. The people running in their little suits looks fake. Like it just looked too fake for me.
See, and I didn't feel like that, but I think it's because I immediately were going to buy into it because I knew we were going to have to do over the topness.
I know.
You know, my biggest issue with this movie isn't the effects. It's not the cheesy one-liners. It's not even that the movie is just kind of dumb.
It's okay.
It's the subplot of these people taking over their base, and that's in every one of these kind of movies. It's like you have something happen and there's a creature trying to kill them, and there's always somebody that's trying to, in the midst of all of this, rob somebody or do something. And it annoys me because I'm like, if this person's running around trying to shoot Jason Statham while there's multiple megalodons chasing him on a jet ski, but your concern is still to shoot Jason Statham,
you're dumb.
I'm like, why do you care?
Like,
Jason Statham's
running,
being chased by prehistoric gigantic sharks, and like, you think I'm going to still shoot you instead of leaving and risking? I'm going to risk getting killed by said sharks as well because I really need to kill Jason Statham. And I'm like, it's the Titanic syndrome all over again. The boat is going down, and I'm still having to watch Billy Zane shooting at Leonardo DiCaprio as the ship's sinking. I'm like, get the hell off the ship and let DiCaprio die, and you win, stupid ass. So that annoyed me more than anything. Beyond that, the movie was kind of what I expected it to be.
Yeah.
And so I just had, like, I fell asleep because I'm just tired. So I went back and rewatched the last portion when I was dozing off, and I had a blast with it. So, I mean,
one of the things that I will say that I really liked and I will commend them for is that the number of people they brought back from the first one, including the little girl. It's the same little girl. They got him, some of his buddies from the rig that survived. Like, all these people are still there. So that is awesome. But then again, all these people are still there knowing what happened the first time, and now they're trying to do this training with like you can train a shark or whatever. Well, that's just dumb, folks.
Yeah, this whole thing is, but that's a problem that every
science
franchise like this makes.
They always
Jurassic
think they can
Park
make it better. Yes, Jurassic Park, you think you can train the
anything
raptors
with an AI thing, they do it. Yeah, and the raptors weren't even the issues. It was trying to make new dinosaurs and all this stuff.
Like, why do you
we
think
all know
humans cannot
these things are never going to work? But that's why the sequels exist.
I know.
Because if they
did what I did and be like, and they leave,
but I do want to give them props. I want to give them props on the end of it. It's not a spoiler, I'm not going to say, but the thing that's supposedly training, that they give it an out, that you never really know, does it work or does it not work?
Correct.
And it leaves that thing of never really saying, I fully trained them. It's leading to, I trained them and somebody else is like, you're full of crap and here's why. And so then it's still like, okay.
Both sides of it. You never know.
And you never know, but you don't need to.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Did you notice the thing with his spears you can see in the photo in the movie? Where he was throwing them and then they were back and then they were gone?
Yeah, people have commented on that. Like they were reappearing.
But he didn't throw more than he had.
Correct.
It's just a moment he throws one.
And then he's has that number again.
He's got two and he takes one out. He throws another one.
And then he has two
again.
Then
there's two in there for a few things. And then when he goes to throw it, he doesn't have any. But that is par for the course of movies in the 80s.
Yeah.
With guys with bullets in their guns. Like one of the most famous that I've always loved is the movie Commando with Schwarzenegger.
No, with the thing.
He's got the M60 with the
little bullet string.
Yeah,
he's holding
bullet
the
belt, and it's short, and also it's long, and it's short, and it's long.
You know what?
This one has another scene where the guy, he pulls a U, where the girl takes off running when he's trying to.
Oh yes.
But
then the middle, we're watching the movie. He's like, "See, this is my wife,"
and she's like way out there. The immediate next scene is he's in front of her.
Yeah.
Like that was a bad edit. Like there is something in the middle, or they just when they shot the next scene they forgot and said, "Okay, go," and he just took off.
That's your continuity person.
So anyway, you could critique this kind of film all day. It's
just meant to be a fun movie.
It's basically like watching
Monster
Mega
movies.
Shark or Sharknado or something like that, but with bigger stars, bigger budget, and probably more fun.
Yeah, that's fine.
I would watch it again because I think it's fun.
I think I like the first one better just because it's more unexpected. You didn't know it was going to happen.
I think they're about the same.
Just because it's really becomes like a monster movie.
The first one they're about the same. The only difference is the first one you're only dealing with one, so it tones it down a little bit. And I saw somebody's comment. I didn't want to come in. And I agree. Anything with Blue Falcon is awesome.
Yes, thank you.
So, just saying. I know I'm 30 minutes late to that conversation, but.
All right. Well, go watch Meg 2.
Meg 2 The Trench will be on Blu-ray and DVD on October 24th, but it is on digital and available now on Max streaming.
There you go. All right. Now for the big one.
All right. For those that don't know us already, we are massive Saw fans. I'm probably a bigger Saw fan than you are because I haven't been into it from day one.
No, I did my
But you are the one
research.
obsessed with writing. I have a brain.
Let
you
me
have to
go
write
back.
it down.
Let me go back.
So
no,
if you didn't see this show when we watched Spiral, that's when this occurred, I believe.
Yes.
And so she has this long. Did you make new notes on it?
No.
You didn't end up doing that?
No, but I did like this.
So, excuse me, to recap our world of Saw, not necessarily every movie, but our first experience with Saw was an unexpected one.
It was.
We were at a comic convention, and we were wandering around, and it says, "Hey, y'all want to watch a movie?" And we're like, "Okay."
Free movie.
And we walked into this little meeting room
or whatever.
Yeah, ballroom, meeting room type thing. Literally just folding chairs and a projector and a screen on the wall.
Yeah.
And what, like 8-10 people?
There
wasn't that many people in there.
Nah.
And we're watching a movie we knew nothing about. We didn't know what Saw was.
Hey, there's this new movie.
And I will never forget seeing that movie, being all into it, and then the twist at the end, and we were both like,
gosh, we're like, what?
What? So in theory, we've been on this Saw journey together since the beginning.
Since the very beginning.
Very unique start. Became a fan, but of course didn't expect
2004.
Didn't ever expect another one.
No, we were just like, man, that was cool.
You know, and who expected it to end up being such a massive franchise? So for a while there, up until I think chapter 8, no, or 7, there was a new Saw movie every year, every
Halloween. It was like, ooh,
and they used to advertise it. If it's Halloween, you know it's Saw kind of thing. And then they did start getting diminished returns as far as the box office. So it seemed like it was over at the final chapter. Then they came back with Jigsaw, which kind of went a new direction. I think it was the lowest at the franchise at the time. We thought it was dead. Chris Rock had an idea, being a big fan. That's where Spiral spinoff came from. And then we thought it was over.
Yeah.
But yet we are back.
Yes, we are back. We're back.
Are you wanting to talk about the trailer, or you want to just dive into this one? I don't think there's a lot to talk about in conjunction with this one.
No, I mean, which one's your favorite? If you could pick a favorite, if you had to pick one.
Here's the thing:
they're so interconnected.
The first one is going to always be
the experience.
The experience, the original. It has the best twist. But it also is probably the slowest of the bunch, not counting Saw X, because it's a lot of dialogue. It's the least violent of the entire franchise. Like the traps and a lot of the stuff you see in that happen off screen. You're seeing the aftermath of a lot of it.
Yeah.
There are a couple you see, and then of course you do see the stuff of sawing his foot off, beating him with the toilet lid, all that kind of stuff. But it's nothing like what the franchise became.
Yeah.
That being said, I love Saw 2. Saw 2 stepped its game up. It started building a world. It was way more violent, way more gory. It felt bigger. It felt like they took this very small concept and made it something that could be.
Yeah.
And I think Saw 2, my love of that movie is also because it exploded the franchise into a bigger world. I love every movie in this franchise. There's not one that I don't like. There are elements.
Yeah, there's some things that you're like,
but I love every movie in this franchise.
Okay.
Like I've never walked out of a Saw movie and went, Like there's some little things in the new one, but I do love the new one.
Yeah.
I love it too, but I think it's a different kind of Saw movie than every other one before. So, what about you? What's your favorite?
Actually, I think I like Jigsaw because in theory we're 10 years after he's been gone. But we're not at the same time. And I think it provides an even broader picture going back to the very beginning of every single person that could potentially have been helping him this whole time. You know, because we go back in time, we're in the present, we're in the future, we're in the back, we're all
Saw
over.
3 is when they officially killed him off, right?
Correct.
Before we start bouncing around time.
Since 3 and 4, since they're kind of concurrent.
And it's funny, is one of the producers or something.
These are my Saw notes.
I know, I have my notes up here. One of the producers was recently talking about the new one. They say one of our biggest regrets is that we killed him off so early in the franchise because they could have explored more with him. But
and I think that's why I like Jigsaw, because we learn these
Little
other
bit.
people that were connected to him back in the beginning, but also now. But
yeah,
you
but
don't
you
really
get that in
know.
almost every one of the movies.
I know, but you find out like, oh, this person too.
I
and
was
it's
glad they killed
intriguing.
him only because I love Tobin Bell, but I thought
Yeah,
it made it clever on how they had to work him back in.
yeah.
And the flashbacks and the different
When I
stories.
think
And
too, when your killer becomes larger than life is when it really takes on
especially when the
a
whole
new
idea
level.
was he's never killed anyone.
Yeah. Well, and then also, you start Jigsaw or whatever, and they're like, but he's dead. It can't be him.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, it is, or is it? So it becomes to this whole larger than life, and that's what becomes more scary. Because none of these I think are necessarily scary.
No, they're not
They're
scary at all.
psychological thrillers. And then I do like Spiral. I'm glad we watched it again. That's the one that like I said, I've probably seen the least.
I think Spiral. I love Spiral. But
I liked the style.
I think Spiral has some of the. I don't want to say. How do I say this?
Say
Insulting.
it.
The acting isn't as strong in Spiral.
Yes.
I love Chris Rock, and I love Chris Rock in drama, but this felt very much like Chris Rock from New Jack City at times, where he's overacting, and I think it's because he's trying to do something. I loved him in the movie. I love that movie. I was a little put off that it has no connection to the other movies. So but it's not supposed to. It's supposed to be its own thing. It's connected in the copycat killer, and I like that it's from the Book of Saw. So it's there, and there's elements that you see characters on the board from the other movies and stuff. So it's in the same universe. It's just its own thing. So like that's the one movie that if you wanted to watch you could always leave that movie out if you wanted. And it wouldn't change anything.
But I think that's why I do like it, because I think that's more real life sometimes, is that there are crazy people that would be the copycats or that would want to do something because they saw something else. But then I do like that it's different. The style's different. The coloring's different. It's gritty. It's a different story. That one kid gives a great performance. And yeah, Chris Rock is a little over the top, but that's okay.
I don't like that it's also the only one, since they didn't make another one, that it's left open-ended, and we may or may not ever get anything else from it.
Correct.
And that annoys me, because at least with like the final the Saw 3D movie.
Yeah.
That felt like a finale.
Yeah.
Right? We've come full circle. We know the stuff. It's actually called the final chapter, but every horror franchise has that.
Yeah.
There's Jason.
You think Freddy's dead?
Friday the 13th. Freddy's dead, the final chapter, final nightmare, Friday the 13th, the final chapter. They always have them.
Always do.
That's the intent. Then finally the movie picks up and somebody has a better idea. Jigsaw was kind of an interesting in place of the series, but also its own thing.
Yeah. But it connects.
It connects, and then Spiral was interesting to say,
I feel like
we're done with this story, and let's do something new with the franchise.
Yeah.
But then they still left it to where.
But you could have a bunch of those, though.
I know, and it was. I thought. I heard that they were going to make another one to follow up that story, but then
it didn't happen. But,
and it was also, I think, the lowest box office of any of the Saw films, but it also came out during COVID. It was one of those first ones that come out before people were really going back to the theater.
We were, because there were no people there.
And it was also the first movie that I had to start using hearing devices at. And ironically, screwed me over in this movie too, because I didn't have the hearing device at that one because it didn't work. And then this new one,
we have to go to a different theater until their system's up and running.
Well, we won't know until we go. That's the only way you know.
Well, you call and be like, "Is your hearing?"
They don't answer the phone.
I'm God.
Anyway, so now that leads us to Saw X. All these years later, franchise that never should have gotten past the first movie. We're 10 movies in.
Amazing movie.
But this time it's a kind of a prequel of sorts. We're diving into a story that's between Saw 1 and 2. And this is
Let me roll up my scroll.
This is the first time we're getting a movie that's really focused on John Kramer more than Jigsaw.
Yes.
It's a
character.
It's a little bit of a slower film than the other ones. The other ones dive right in. It's an intense mystery of who's doing what and solve the traps and all this. A lot of that's not here until like the second half of the film. Yeah. The first half of the film is John and his search for this cure. He's dealing with this cancer, as we all know, and searching with a cure, and then found something that's a possibility, a chance. And what I loved is that it gives Tobin Bell that time to shine. Like he is so good in this movie. Like I'm talking. I think this is probably his best performance he's ever given in a movie. Level.
What has he done besides this?
He's done a bunch. He's been in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I guess I just never.
I think Because in this one, he's got to go through the kind of a range of emotions of the sad depression, the acceptance that he's going to die of cancer, and then the hope that maybe there's a cure, feeling good about it, and then knowing from the trailer that he got screwed over.
Yeah.
And then it becomes, instead of the standard traps and the standard game, this is a game of more vengeance. Like, he's still trying to teach them a lesson. He's still giving them their opportunity to escape. But I think there was also a chance of, I'm not really giving you a chance of escape because you're going to pay for what you've done. Because everything was like 3 minutes. It was very short run times to do anything, you know. And they were way more intense. They weren't as, I don't think the traps were as creative as they've been in some of the other movies. They seem more simplistic on some level. They're still good, don't get me wrong, but by design, because there wasn't as much time to prepare for this, because this wasn't him scouting and looking. This happened, and now he had to put something together. What are your thoughts? Don't do that, you hurt yourself.
No, I agree. I like it's a character movie. It's really about him, and I feel like we're at the time early of the diagnosis, right? I think this is earlier.
Well, yes and no, because he's already writing his will, and so he's already accepted.
He knows, but I think it's still in that moment where he still thinks maybe there's a chance.
Yeah.
That we're at that point. We're not to the point later on in 2, 3, 4, whatever, where he's like, it's over. I'm gonna just do this before I die and leave.
Well, I think we are at that point before the treatment, because remember, he's sitting there writing his will. I think at that point he's planning for the end.
Yeah. But he's like, there might be one last chance. Let's give it a try.
Because I think he's already gone through a lot of the elements of being rejected by insurance. I mean, like all the stuff that we saw
Hello.
In a lot of the other
Engage.
In a lot of the other stories. I forgot to bring the Billy puppet in here.
Where's Billy?
He's in the theater.
You were supposed to set him
I know, I totally forgot. I think he probably has already planned what he's doing. All these people we see later in the other movies, insurance people and all that stuff. He just hasn't done those yet.
Correct.
I think he's doing his will, and then the next level is him going through all these different traps and setting up
correct and getting everything set up and getting them built.
And that's the upside to the kind of gray area of the timeline this series has always had. You know that these take place before he dies, the planning, but you never really know how long the planning took, how long he lived before he died.
Well, he had to build everything.
Right. And then, of course, then he has help, so then you don't know how many things he did. And then as you get to way out, like to number 7, excuse me, you're just now finding out who did all the surgeries and all this stuff. You just assume it was him, and it probably was until they came up with an idea. And then now it's like, this makes way more sense.
Not 8 is you find out who's helping to build traps. And
so,
I mean, he's had help all over the place. That's what I'm saying. And
this time around, it's also gives more time for him and Amanda to have, because she's in the trailers and it's public knowledge she's in the movie. It's not a secret.
I'm not a fan of her.
I love her, even though her hair looked horrible in this movie.
Well, in all the Saws, I'm not a fan of her. There's something. This is one of those cases.
Is it of Amanda or Shawnee Smith?
I think it's Shawnee Smith, and I think I'm having a Dano moment.
Are you saying her face?
Well, I don't like her face.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I think she's adorable.
No, well, okay. Then
not
maybe,
with the hair in
maybe
this
then
movie,
it's in these movies.
And she's super sweet in person.
Okay, well then it's what's his name? Paul Dano. I'm having a Paul Dano reaction where I just don't like seeing her face.
You can't like Saw if you don't like
However, in this movie, her face does not look normal. So they did something.
They were putting a filter on it, and I think the attempt was to try to make her look younger because of it going back, but it didn't help the bad wig.
Yeah.
Like, because in that time period, she's supposed to have that hair that looks like she jacked her hair up. Like, it's almost like, because if you look back there, it's kind of dirty and spiky. It's annoying looking.
She should have just cut her real hair.
Well, they could have, but they should have looked like this. She was too well coiffed.
Yeah.
Like that hair she had back then, it looked like
crazy hair.
Looked like she had been through some stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and I know in this case that at that moment she was inside the trap. She was going through stuff, so she was supposed to look crazed.
Yeah.
In this case, she looked like a Vulcan. Like her hair was distracting to me more so than the face. The face was bothering me, but again, because if you looked at it, it had like that Facebook filter where people put on their faces, kind of got a blurry tone.
Which I do like Facebook filters.
I don't. I hate when anybody uses it.
I love me a filter. I have her filter on right now. I think I have her filter on right now.
I don't think that picture's bad, but I don't know how old
She
that
didn't look
picture is.
like that in this movie. at
No,
all.
she, and again, I think they were trying to make her young, but instead
I
of
think I
de-aging,
have our filter on. I do.
well, don't, because it's stupid. Turn the dumb filter off.
No, I need it.
We don't need it. You're elderly.
It's been on for months.
And I've complained about it before, and I told you, do not. You're without approval. World internets. My face is being altered, and I did not approve of this. This is why we strike. You're using AI to alter me.
Let me check if I've got it on.
Then people meet me from the show, and then they're like, "Oh God."
I just have touch up on.
Yeah, what?
Touch up my appearance.
You don't need to touch up your appearance.
I do.
Embrace that you're old, but don't look old. You're trying to make people think you look younger when you don't look old. You old as shit, but you don't look it.
You're funny. Anyways. Anywho, I feel like I like this movie because it's taking us back a return to what we see later of him going after the medical industry and how they screw people over and they lie to you and they don't tell you the full truth. And this one is like way out there and exaggerated. But let me tell you, friends, first of all, you should be leery of getting anything done in Mexico. I know it's cheaper. I know the temptation's there. I just had a conversation yesterday with a lady that's like, yeah, I'm going to go to Mexico to get my teeth done. I'm going to get all new porcelain, whatever done. And I'm like, okay, but it's Mexico. So just no. So in this movie, when he's like, I'm going to go get the surgery in Mexico, I'm already leery, by the way.
That is another thing I will tell you. There are twists and turns in the movie.
Yeah, it's not that simplistic.
This movie is probably the least surprising twist. Like, I kind of had already figured everything out.
Yeah.
Who was involved, who wasn't, long before we get to the end.
Yeah.
And even there's a mid-credit scene, I think, for the first time in the franchise, which is a great scene. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. But again, it wasn't a surprise. You know what I mean? It was it was more of a reminder. It was probably more a surprise than the actual ending, because as the ending is playing out, I'm like,
well, what about
I know
this?
what's about to happen. You know what it reminded me of? It's so silly. This reminded me of Superman 2, the twist of Superman 2. You remember with the switch of powers and Zod? It's kind of that same idea. It's almost like they took that idea to do something, but it wasn't like. I wasn't surprised by it. I was glad they were doing it, and I thought it was cool.
To happen.
And I know you were like, yeah, and people were cheering. It seemed excited, and it kept the same formula. It just didn't have, I think, the punch in the face like everyone has had. The first one's got the best, but every one of them has been a twist of some sort. It's kind of like the one with Detective. I just went blank. I knew it earlier. Anyway, Costas Mandalorian, he's fighting the other guy. The guy throws him in the case and shuts it, and you realize that's what he wanted all along. And this whole franchise has always been, until this movie, it's all been, if you listen to what he tells you at the beginning, you would live.
Yep.
Like, he tell you, sit here and talk to me, or get inside of this thing and you'll live. And he always questions it because he doesn't trust it, but it always ends up being that exact thing he says. This one didn't seem to have that. This one was very much just like, here's what you got to do to get out. Good luck.
Good luck. But, I mean, these people deserved it.
Yeah.
So
I really dug this flick.
I think too what's funny, and now not funny, haha, but interesting, is that all of us in the theater, we are like rooting for these people to die.
Yes.
They're like, you deserve to die.
Yeah, this is the first movie, I think, too, that nobody that was in the game was redeemable, really.
No.
It was,
that one girl.
Yeah, but in general, most of the games, it's like, you did this.
People,
I'm trying to give you a chance to rebuild your life. Stop doing this thing. Be better. These people were assholes. And you're like, yeah, I want you to die. I want you, don't get out. Cut your legs off, cut your heads off, whatever it is. Make it happen, and it was super gory. I think.
Yeah, that I was happy about.
Yeah, and I think that the as gory as this franchise is, I think this was the angriest gore. You know what I mean? It's like there was crap behind this. This was torture. The other ones have torture, but usually the deaths and stuff are kind of quick. It's like you run out of time and then something closes on your face. This one felt like I'm inflicting as much pain as possible on you for your atrocities that you've done to make you pay. And I honestly think there was no way that any of these were planned to get out. I think he purposely they could have, but I think his purpose was to make it almost impossible to get out for the vengeance.
Yeah, I think if they'd had one more minute, they could have.
Now, I do like that there's an element of that same idea of getting out and the questioning of, should we be torturing this person? And this person didn't really do anything, but they did. And then, okay, they might have won something. Okay, get them some help. And then it sees that other side that we never get to hear the discussion about.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like we know that's what happened to Amanda.
Yep.
She got out of that thing, and then you see that brief in that other movie of him talking to her, and I'm going to help you, and I've given you another life. And you see her in the first Saw movie where her line is, you know, he saved me,
my life. Yeah.
even though she's a victim. And that's when you realize, you don't think about it at the time that she's going to be involved. You think, oh, maybe what he's doing isn't really always bad. And then it makes you, as the audience, stop thinking of him as a bad guy, and you start seeing, oh, he's taking these people with problems or did bad things. And
he's helping them.
Yeah, and it's this weird therapy.
I don't need that kind of help. Thank you.
No, it's kind of this weird, violent therapy, but we got to see a little of that discussion in this one.
Yeah.
You know, and see Amanda's.
Well, I think we also
connecting.
have that in.
It's in some of the other ones.
or whatever, where we have the survivors group with. What's his name?
With Dr. Gordon Returns.
With and what's the main guy?
Oh, Sean Patrick Flannery.
Sean
Bobby.
Patrick Flannery. Yeah, Bobby.
Bobby.
Anyways,
I love this movie. It might be my least favorite of the franchise, but again, because it's not part of the bigger story, it's probably gonna be one that grows on me. I did love getting to see more John. I love getting to see Tobin Bell really be the star of the movie.
Yeah.
Every other movie he's
in the
forefront, but he's always
kind
sparse. The star is always the person that's going through the game.
Yeah.
And I love that Tobin Bell got the chance to shine the way he deserved, being the long-standing reason this movie's even worked. Now, that being said, his voice, while iconic, is hard for me to hear. And since the sound, the device wasn't working, I struggled to listen to the movie. So I apologize. I had to ask her a lot of times, would they say something important? Thankfully, these movies aren't super deep. You can't figure it out.
He figured it out.
So.
And we had a visitor in our theater. We're kind of in the middle to the end.
I remember exactly. It was right before the mass violence started.
Okay,
thankfully that it was over before that happened.
And suddenly there's a small child walking up the stairs.
She could have been more than three
or four, maybe. And she's like, "Mommy."
Yeah, see, I didn't hear the mommy. I just saw her.
She was walking over to this couple, so I thought, oh, she's with them. And then she walked back. And then she comes up, she's like, Mommy. She's like completely lost.
And when I saw her, I just saw her coming back. So I thought she was those people. And I'm like, why are they not getting their freaking kid? And then you're like, what's with this kid? So now I'm thinking you saw her come from there. And I'm like.
Because there's like, if she's not with the couple, the only one next up was that black guy that was by himself. I'm like, she doesn't belong to him.
Why?
Which is a little white girl in the red dress.
You never seen different
No, because he walked in with his friend that sat up here.
I'm kidding.
And then it was us.
Which, that's another thing, is I don't think they were in the seats they were supposed to be in.
No, because the guy's like, I want to sit in the middle, and the other guy's like, I'm going to sit up top. Whatever.
That's another argument I have.
Anyway, so I was like, should I go get her?
No. Let me tell you what you actually said. You might have been having this internal fight, but she tells me, she goes,
should we do something?
She goes, I was thinking I should probably get up and help her, but I'm really watching this movie.
Yeah. Well, but then you know what? The other flip side of that is like the other guy, someone got up and went and told someone. But I'm actually kind of leery now to be like, here, little girl, let me help you. Because someone's going to think I took her.
Yeah, if they come walking in and you got the hold of this kid, it's going to look like you took the kid.
Like the Mexican lady tried to steal the white baby.
Yeah.
It's like, not today.
For her white husband.
No, it's like,
the little girl.
I have a white baby of my own.
The little girl ended up walking down, and then
she walked out.
She just walked all, and we were on so the door's over here. She was on the far side. And it's midday, right? It's in 3-something, 4-something.
I wonder if they were in Paw Patrol.
And then she starts walking back out, and she's looking up. She's still looking for her people. And she leaves, and by the time she leaves, she's barely. I can't believe they didn't see her. The only thing I can think is she walked out of the theater, walked right into the next theater.
Yep.
Because about that time, the guy comes in. The kid walks out. Literally, the guy comes in, and now he's got a person with him.
And they're looking around.
The lady gets up that he's with, runs over there and tells them the girls already got, and they turn around. So we never know what happened to the little kid.
I hope she's okay wherever she.
I just hope she didn't miss the beginning of Paw Patrol.
I know. Hopefully it was good.
Another fun story: our granddaughter got to have her first film experience this weekend with Paw Patrol. She loves Paw Patrol.
She loves Paw Patrol.
So they took her to her first movie. And I'm happy to report that unlike the first time I took my daughter to a movie, nobody got thrown up on.
And she wasn't disruptive. So there you go. Good job, kid.
So, anyway.
Proud of you. All right.
And the other thing is, if you buy a ticket to a movie, and most theaters are all assigned seating now, I don't give a crap if you're the only person in the theater. Sit in the seat you paid for. Do not sit somewhere else. It annoys me because that starts creating the mentality that I can sit wherever I want still.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know if somebody's going to show up late.
Correct.
Then you're moving around. Then you're doing this and this. There was a news article about some people that got in a fight, or this guy got beat, the crap kicked out of him because he came into the theater. There were people in his seats.
Mm-hmm.
He told them this is where I was sitting. Was supposed to be in my seats. They refused to move, so he supposedly went to sit to a different seat. And the guy's like said something like, "Yeah, run back to your woman," because he was with his wife, and called him a boy or something. And he said, "You're the one acting like a boy, and I let you get my seat. You didn't even say, thank you or apologize or nothing." Turned around. The guy was in his 60s. Turned around to keep walking, and the other guy jumped him, knocked him down the steps, and beat the shit out of him.
What?
All because that guy was not in the seat where he was supposed to be.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
They've arrested the guy since. But it's like,
Good.
it's, first of all, that's the stupidest thing to fight over. Second of all, if somebody pays for that seat, move. Sit where you're supposed to sit. And it's not a secret. It used to be, there used to be those gray areas that you weren't really sure.
Mm-mm.
Nowadays, they make you pick it on the screen. So you know exactly where you're supposed to be sitting. You can't go, "Oh, I didn't know."
Mm-mm.
You had to pick it. Or you can't buy a ticket.
Who knows?
I will drop kick you if you're sitting in my seat and give me lip on principle. And I don't care if you're the only one in the theater and they're like, "Look, I have osteoporosis and I couldn't get any further." And this one said, "I don't care. You should have stayed home. Move over. That's my chair." Sorry.
All right then.
That and the people on flights. Another one popped up and somebody's like, some guy refused to move for some 60-something-year-old couple that wanted to sit in their flight on a 12-hour flight because he paid for that seat. And people are like, "He should have got up." I was like, no, he paid for that. People knew how long that flight was going to be.
I paid for my seat.
Like, I ain't moving for you.
Mm-mm.
I ain't Keanu Reeves. I ain't getting up to give you my seat.
Anyways.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I mean, I would if it was some stupid.
Why are you
secret.
messing up my Hawaii
I
doll?
will throw
Stop
your
it.
pineapple
Stop it.
across the room.
Tell me, okay, so
Saw X is in theaters now. We loved it. Check it out.
Yes.
And I love that it's the beginning of the new Halloween season.
Speaking
like,
of,
like it's supposed.
Hold
on, I'm not telling you that.
Tell me your favorite.
I have a question for you. Shush, woman. Stop trying to speed things up that you don't know about. This week we had 3 movies open.
Mm-hmm.
We had Saw X.
Yep.
We had The Creator.
Which is the creator? Oh, the robots.
Yes, and we had Paw
we
Patrol.
don't know if the robots were artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and we had Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
The big Paw Patrol movie. Which movie do you think was #1 this weekend?
Paw Patrol.
That would be correct. Paw Patrol was #1 this weekend.
That's because all my people were taking their kids.
That's right, just that one child.
Well, no, like 10 people went. Because
Well,
no, I'm just saying each family takes like 10 people.
Oh, your people. But
My
do you know
people.
somebody specifically?
No,
or
I'm
you
just
saying?
assuming that all
Okay,
Hispanic
you're just
people
assuming that
are
they
taking
went.
their 5 kids and their grandma.
You said it with such confidence. I thought you knew
No,
somebody
I know.
was going.
I know.
Saw X was #2.
Nice.
It only made like, I want to say like
office.
$18 million, which doesn't sound like very much, but apparently it was only made for 13.
Hey.
So that's in
Making
it's in the
money.
green so far, depending on how much it costs for advertising. So there's a chance this could be a new level of entry into the Saw franchise.
Nice.
The way it ends, we're not at the original movie yet, so they could do a few more Adventures of John before part 2.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
who knows? We'll see what happens.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. So what are we talking about now? What do you want me to do?
Tell me your favorite scary movie.
Oh, it's not so. Okay, so we do
It's
this
not
every
scary
October.
movies.
We don't necessarily. It's not always our favorite. It's just ones we really like.
Just movies. you like.
And I always try to go randoms in
Yeah.
hopes to introduce people to other
Yeah,
stuff.
I understand.
I have to go first.
You don't have to, but I'm
Well, you
asking.
threw it at me first.
I'm asking you the question.
So I'm going into one that was. It was actually part of, and I probably brought on the show before. It was actually part of a TV show first. It was called. Oh my God.
Dun, 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 dun.
Green something. Anyway, it was a TV show with Ben Affleck, Matt
Soylent
Damon.
Green.
No. It was about them
Oh,
producing.
the Green Light, Project Green Light.
Project Green Light. Thank
Look
you.
at me.
Look at you
Hey.
finally knowing something. After,
Hey, girl, hey.
after almost 20 years of knowing each other, you finally got an answer right. So they had people that was a filmmaker, and then they had a script they would pick, and then the TV show you see the making of the film. So this one was one of my favorites that came out. Is a movie called Beast.
Yes.
That came out. And the very big connection to this, and I'll tell you why in a second. But Feast spawned 3 films in the franchise.
Mm-hmm.
You had Feast, unrated edition, that was directed by John Gulager, who was the son of Clu Gulager, who was in Return of the Living Dead and every other freaking movie you can think of, which also made Feast 2, Sloppy Seconds, and Phase 3, The Happy Finish. They're
Nice.
like creature features. Clu Gallagher is actually in it. That's the dad. But fun connection to our discussion today.
Oh.
This movie is also, which I have it signed by Clu Gallagher, Marcus Dunstan, and Diane, what's her name? Hold on, what's her first name? It's not on here for some reason. Anyway, it was Clu Gallagher's wife. Diane Goldner, that was her name. Then they're all signed, but she wrote Help Me, Harley Mom, which is the character. John Gallagher, the director, wrote Fuck 'Em All. And this is Here Comes the Blood, who's Marcus, which is Marcus Dunstan and Patrick Melton wrote Saw 2 through 4, I believe.
Oh, wow.
Because of this movie, they got the Saw gig.
Nice.
They're also the same team that did The Collector and The Collector 2.
The Collection.
Yeah, The Collector, The Collection, and then it was supposed to be The Collected, but we didn't get it. So
Such
anyway,
a good movie.
these are great little, like, totally pointless, just like there's these people in a bar.
Creatures?
There's these creatures that are just wiping everybody out. This one's produced by Chris Moore, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, and Wes Craven.
Oh,
I think Jay Muse is in one of these, and Henry Rollins, like all kinds of people. I love this franchise. It's just super gory, bloody monsters destroying stuff, and it's over the top chaos. So if you haven't seen the Feast franchise, check it out. Feast is awesome. Go ahead.
Okay. Well,
what you got?
I'm
sister?
picking one that I think you would like too, because
I hate it.
This is your genre of movies, werewolves. So I am picking Ginger Snaps. This was, to me at the time, such like a creative, fun, different take on werewolves, because you don't always get a lot of female werewolf main characters. You get a bunch of angry dudes or violent whatever people that turn into werewolves. I don't know why it's always guys, like American Werewolf or the dog people soldier things, whatever. So this one we have two sisters. One gets bitten and starts to mutate, and there you go. We have Ginger Snaps.
Bitten, twice shy, baby.
And then you get Ginger Snaps Part 2, which is really good. And then you get a Ginger Snaps Back, which actually takes you back in time.
It's like in the 1800s.
Yeah, to like a previous life where they were considered to be witches, but guess what?
I
They
do love
weren't
these
witches.
movies.
They were actually werewolves.
What I find interesting about these movies, is mostly the first one, is the first one is almost treated like her when she's getting bit, she's turning into a werewolf.
Yeah.
But it's almost like her getting her period for the first
period
time.
thing.
It's like a metaphor kind of thing of becoming a woman, but becoming a
woman.
werewolf.
But I think also to becoming who you're meant to be, especially if you consider Ginger Snaps Back your previous lives, that this is who you're meant to be.
And they got the same cast in all three movies, even the prequel one.
And I like that they're nice and bloody and got some good effects.
They're great flicks.
They did really good makeups and things for them. So this was just a fun set of movies. So if you're into werewolves, you like hot chicks, Ginger Snaps. I'm selling it. There you go.
I always forget her name. What is that one girl's name? She's one of the names. Catherine Isabel.
Catherine Isabel.
She's also Ginger. She kind of got big later in the day because she did what was that Mary movie the Soska sisters made? I love it. Hold on.
American Mary.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, where she's like basically like a medical student.
And
she's like altering people.
Starts doing some crazy procedures.
Great flick, man.
Anyways, yeah, it's a good set of movies too.
All right, so let's jump into what's coming out.
What's coming out, babe? Tell me.
So we've got a few different things. This animated movie called Animal Crackers is coming out. I have no idea what it's about. They're putting out the Scream 3 movie collection on 4K. They've already released the first two movies, but they have not released. I think the third one is fixing to come out of the original Scream trilogy on 4K, but they also have this collection coming out. This movie with Stephen Dorff and John Travolta called Mobland is coming out with John Travolta wearing a cowboy hat. That's all I know. It's on the picture.
Okay.
The movie Prey, which was the Predator movie that came out on Hulu. Too much thing, and I did read recently there is a sequel to that in development.
Oh.
Which I still hope they need to make one in like feudal Japan. That would be amazing.
I really loved it. It's
excellent.
In a way, it makes me laugh because I'm not making fun of anyone.
There you
but there's one religion that believes that at some point Jesus came to visit the Native Americans. It was actually the Predators came to visit the Native Americans.
Yeah,
I cracked myself
If
out.
you haven't seen Prey, you can check it out on Hulu, but it's getting the Blu-ray release, so we have a lot of bonus stuff. It's a great Predator flick. The movie Talk to Me about that hand.
I am wanting to see that.
I've heard mixed things. I heard somebody said it was one of the worst horror films I've ever seen. I've heard other
Aw.
people that they had a blast with it. So who knows? I'd like to watch it.
Well, and you know what? Horror is so subjective now because it's not always just slasher serial killer. They're very complex stories now, which people
they
don't
refer
understand.
to it as elevated horror.
Elevated
now, which
horror.
some elevated horror is trash.
You get some
because
some good Babadook that's really
they've
about
lost-
loss and sadness and depression.
The problem with
but then
elevated horror, a
you get
lot of it
slashers.
has lost the concept of the horror film. It's like, if we're not talking about
It's
the
too
gore,
talky.
it's just, yeah, it gets to be too babbling on and on and on, and then nothing happens. They let something happen at the very end of the movie, and you're like, sat around for this crap?
Yeah.
But we haven't seen Talk to Me yet, so we'll see. Night of the Demons, all 3 movies are getting the 4K treatment through Shout Studios.
Shout.
They're not really, I think they're...
What's her name?
Who?
The
Oh,
girl.
Angela?
Angela has a... Anytime anybody names Angela invites you to a party, just say no thank you.
You've never seen these, have you?
Doesn't matter, but I already
No, but I'm
know.
asking you.
No, I have not.
So we'll be watching this so we can discuss. I have the
but I
first 2
know
already.
Angela's having a party.
I have the first 2, and they haven't sent me the 3rd one yet, but we'll at least watch the
No,
first 2
thank
so we
you.
can, because I need to watch them to review anyway.
Okay,
so
that's fine.
that'll be our kickoff to the Halloween season as Night of the Demons.
We'll start in a
I
little
think they
bit.
came out in the 80s, so if you haven't checked those out, those are getting the 4K treatment. And I think that might be it. There's some other stuff like The Mist is getting a 4K Universal Classic Monsters Limited Edition
Oh,
collection.
that's fun.
Things like that. Those are the big things.
All right. Well, coming out online or at the theater this week, tomorrow and Monday, October 2nd. Can you believe it's October?
It's crazy.
There is a new Hulu movie coming out tomorrow called Appendage. It's this girl who has been just having some strange inner thoughts, and they begin to form into an actual being, and a monster is sent loose that threatens to upend everything in her life. Coming out on Tuesday. Did you mention Mary Had a Little Lamb? Or we were talking about
We were
different
talking
Mary?
before the show.
Anyways, okay, we'll be watching Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's coming out on Video Demand and Digital on Tuesday. Also coming out is a movie called Creepy Crawly. We will be talking about that as well. There's a new documentary that I really want to see. It's called Unstuffed, the story of Build-A-Bear. So I'm excited about that. And also coming out is a movie called Kindling. It's a group of men that go home to celebrate their friend's final last days. So we'll see. Coming out on Thursday to Paramount Plus, Monster High Part 2. Didn't know we
Is that
needed
the live action one?
It's the live action one. I didn't know we needed that, but if you're a fan of Monster High, go check it out. Also coming to Hulu, I'm excited, The Boogeyman. That's a grown man who tries to tell his psychiatrist that the boogeyman is real and living in his closet, and nobody believes him. But you know what? You should
We'll be talking about it as well.
Coming out on Friday in theaters, a movie called The Burial. This is inspired by a true story. It stars Tommy Lee Jones and
Jaime Fox.
And it's about a man who runs a funeral home, and he has been defrauded by a big conglomerate of funeral homes, and they go and take their case to court. And so that's going to be a really interesting one. Also, probably the big one of the week coming out the theater, the new Exorcist movie called The Exorcist Believer. It feels like it's directly connected to part 1. We have the lady comes back. What's her name? The mom. And so you already watched The Exorcist in preparation. Haven't watched it yet, so we need to watch
And I think
that.
I'm going to go and watch Exorcist 2, The Heretic.
Okay.
Because I think Reagan is in that one too, so I just want to have it just in case.
Okay. I wonder if it's
they
one
made
of those
Exorcist
where you
3,
go this
and
way,
they also
or
made
you can go
Exorcist.
in this story.
They
now.
made Exorcist 3, and they also made Exorcist the beginning.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think either one of those matter.
Okay.
This one is directed by David Gordon Green, who also did the Halloween movies, the Halloween and Kills, Halloween Ends.
The new one.
So he's basically doing the same thing with
those.
Exorcist.
Okay. Also coming out in theaters, a movie called The Marsh King's Daughter. It has Daisy Ridley. And it's just a woman kind of living an ordinary life, but nobody realizes that her dad is the infamous Marsh King who held her and her mother captive for years. So that's going to be interesting. I want to see this one too, coming to the theater. It's a movie called Priscilla, and it's about the life of Priscilla Presley.
Yeah, I've heard some controversy on this.
Oh, okay.
Already.
I still want to see it. Is it Sofia Coppola? Is she in it? Sofia Coppola? Is that who's in it?
She directed
it. Oh, good for her.
Yeah, there are people talking trash about it already.
Okay, also coming out to the theater, a movie called Faux, haunting exploration of marriage and identity. So I think we probably need to watch that one. The Netflix
Yeah,
movie of the
someone
week
knows.
is called Reptile. This is the one with Alicia Silverstone that you
That's
were
what I just
telling
told you.
me.
Oh, is that not till this week?
It's coming out this week
Oh, but they already
on
told me it was already
Netflix.
on. Okay.
Oh, well, maybe it's already on. I don't even know what it's about and don't care. It has Alicia Silverstone, and I think you also told me Justin Timberlake and
Benicio del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. So we'll be
Everybody
watching
that's
that.
not heard that matters.
Are we watching this? Any of those? No.
I'd like to because
Okay.
it's getting. We'll probably wait because Killers of the Flower Moon is getting limited release, but then it's gonna be on
Nice.
Apple TV.
Okay, so we'll wait.
I technically already have Desperation Road.
Okay, Desperation Road on video demand and digital. It's a guy attempting to rebuild his life, but then of course something comes and craziness happens. Coming out to Paramount Plus this week, Pet Cemetery Bloodlines. Is this directly connected?
I believe it's a prequel.
Okay, because this says in 1969.
Yeah, I think it's...
Okay, so it's before. All right. What else is happening? One more video demand and digital. State of Unity. Is Unity possible? It's a documentary. That's going to be interesting. And then one more documentary called Your Friend Memphis. It's a young man with cerebral palsy, and it says it's an intimate portrayal of Memphis's determination to bridge the distance between the world's expectation and his own aspirations. So that's going to be an uplifting one for us. Tell me about the contest, babe.
The contest. We got copies of Gangnam Zombie that we just talked about.
Gangnam Style.
So got a couple copies of The Flash left. We also have copies of the animated film Goodbye Monster, as well as the Creepy Crawly that we'll be discussing next week. What better time to have Creepy Crawly as well as other films for the October season? We've got Halloween H2O on 4K, as well as copies of the original Exorcist just in time to see the new one.
Nice. Very good.
That's what's happening. I've got a couple other ones on their way and a couple other things going to be popping up, so just be ready.
All right. Well, that's it for us. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Hollywood Matrimony Live. Go to the website. Make sure you click the contest button for all the free stuff. Go like, subscribe, thumbs up, send hearts, bubbles, whatever on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Hive.
And be sure to share out stuff that we do.
Share.
We don't ask for any money from anybody. We don't charge for anything. But if you want us to have more giveaways, if you want to have more content, we got to get numbers to where they want them to give me more stuff. They already give me a lot of stuff. We'll get better stuff. So if you want free stuff, you got to help us out.
Who doesn't want
So share out an article, share out a contest. Just because you share out a contest doesn't mean you're not going to necessarily win. If I see you sharing out, sometimes I might put a little something extra in there for you if you win. So I am not above bribery.
We have, I want to say, boxes of like stuff.
Yeah, some of it's stuff we do giveaways. Some of it's just promo stuff they send us and say, hey, here's some extra stuff we had in our inventory. And that's what stuff we usually use for when we do conventions and things like that. Mm-hmm. And then every so often we get too much of it, so we'll do like a bulk thing. Hey, enter something, you'll win a whole bunch of movies.
Just get a bunch of stuff.
And then I have some people that are constantly sharing and promoting our stuff. So if they enter a contest, they may not win. I may say, you know what, I already have them on file because they've won something in the past. They've been with us. I'll send them some extra things. So who knows? We try to give back to our fans.
We give back.
Even if there is only one.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week.
Peace out, dog.